Welcome back. Something big is brewing in the internet computer ecosystem, and we're going to be exploring what that is in today's video. I'm going to show you the data that I've been looking at that is telling me something is brewing, and it is not just, oh, internet computer is launching, DeFi or whatever. No, this is big. And the metrics are telling us something. The same way when we look at the actual crypto markets and where the uptrends usually lie, it usually lies when you see the volume increasing. As you guys can see here on the bottom of the chart, the volume is these little bars all the way at the bottom over here. And you can see as the volume increases, then what happens to the price? Boom, much higher. As the volume decreases, what happens to the price? Boom, much lower. And so that's just one indicator of one metric that can indicate what is going to happen next in the market as volume was starting to increase. Then after the volume already increased, we saw the price movements to the upside. As we saw the volume decrease, we saw the prices moving to the downside. So that's cause and effect. Now, not every metric is going to give us that cause and effect, but the metrics that I'm going to show you today that lead me to believe something big is happening with the Internet Computer Protocol, I think you would agree with what my analysis is. And so that's what we're going to cover in today's video. Don't forget to give this video a free thumbs up. We upload almost every single day of the year to bring you the latest happening in the financial world. So make sure you guys are also subscribed to the channel. And if you want to help support the Cryptoviser podcast right here on YouTube, click the join button down below to learn more about becoming a channel member, or you can leave a super chat down in the comments. Thanks to everybody who watches. Let's get into this late breaking news about Internet Computer. Now, as most of you guys know, I am a very big proponent of the internet computer ecosystem. I think it has the best technology when we're talking about most of the major compute platforms or AI platforms here. I mean, just last year, internet computer wasn't even listed in the AI category on many of these data aggregator websites for the prices. But Internet Computer was the first and only blockchain that actually has live AI models running on chain right now. And it has the compute, the bandwidth, and the capabilities to actually do this. Almost no other ecosystem of blockchain out here has this capability. And this is why the Internet Computer is really branding the blockchain as the world computer, the world's compute, hosting secure and network-resistant code and data, build web apps without big tech and current IT. Applications are immune to cyber attacks and are unstoppable, capable of processing tokens and can run under exclusive DAO control. Build Web3 social media, games, DeFi, multi-chain apps, secure front ends, ledgers, enterprise apps, and AI models, all on the world's computer. And so what we've been laying out over the last couple of years with Internet Computer is the foundation being laid for the next wave of technology to be able to actually launch within the Internet Computer ecosystem. While a lot of these other big projects are looking for partnerships with NVIDIA or partnerships with Apple or partnerships with, the World Economic Forum, Internet Computer is standing on its own and building products on their chain, building AI on their chain, and really encompassing what a lot of these other blockchains are trying to achieve and just are not making really any progress on. And that brings us to today. Where is the Internet Computer and what in the Internet Computer is going on with these metrics? And so if you look at the data on the Internet Computer, which I love, it's one of the most transparent ecosystems out here when it comes to the data and being able to analyze what is happening on chain. Well, if you scroll just a little bit down, you can see that this section shows the transaction bandwidth or the transaction throughput of the Internet Computer ecosystem. Now, what's interesting here is that we're at current transactions per second is about 13,000. And this has been fluctuating between 13 and 15,000 over the last few days. Now, if you just look at this independently, you could say, well, this is a fast blockchain. And if you look at Solana, which is really the only other major blockchain in the top 50 that can process, over 5,000 transactions per second in actual production. We have other ecosystems that are promising a billion transactions per second. They say they do thousands, and they just don't. They just don't have that bandwidth or the demand to even use that kind of throughput. But Internet Computer has it, and they have the ability. And even if you just look at the Internet Computer's main site, you can see the Ethereum equivalent, which would be 692,000 transactions is what the Internet Computer can process, right? Because it's processing very, very rapidly, very fast, and it has to have the ability of data and more information besides just a transaction for the AI capabilities, for the smart contract capabilities of this ecosystem. And this is very different than other chains, because other chains, they do some DeFi, but it's really just transaction based, right? It's ledger based, what Bitcoin was made for. This is why you need an Internet Computer or another blockchain to actually tap in to Bitcoin to then provide us an additional layer of their ecosystem to build more products and services on. Because Bitcoin doesn't have smart contract capabilities now or probably in the future. You have to build it on a somewhat like a layer two, which is basically like the Lightning Network or Internet Computers chain cryptography technology. And so when we're looking at the transaction throughput, this gets me excited. And you may say, Cryptoviser, why? And the answer is because something is brewing. We've been talking about on this channel for quite a while now that based on my analysis, something is brewing in ICP. We don't know exactly what is brewing, but we know something is brewing based on the on-chain data and on-chain analytics that tell us something is going on. This is the same thing like when you're looking at the market and you're looking at the volume. As you see volume increasing, typically it means you're going to see a move in the market either to the upside or the downside, usually to the upside when volume is increasing. And so when we're looking at the transactions per second on Internet Computer, and we look at the last 3 months, we were at a low of basically about 3,000 transactions per second in February, and now we're at 14,000, which is a 7x increase or a plus 700% increase. And if we pull it back even further into the year, you can clearly see that the transaction throughput is significantly higher, going parabolic in the banana zone right now, right? Where else have we seen this? Nowhere really else on the charts, this kind of increase and this fast and this many transactions per second, which literally puts Internet Computer as the fastest processing blockchain in the top 50 today. I don't think a lot of people know this. I don't think it's being talked about. And I don't think that Internet Computer is getting the credit that it surely deserves for being really achieving what all these other ecosystems, guys, I remember back in 2018, every blockchain back then was promising 1 million transactions per second. And still today, they can barely do, 50 per second. Meanwhile, Internet Computer is doing significantly more on a regular basis. Now, there's some other, things that we want to look at in other areas of the ecosystem that we want to pay attention to. Now, in this other metric that I'm about to show you, this is the second signal. Well, I should say it was the first signal, and transactions per second was the second signal, because this is something that I noticed maybe a month, maybe a few weeks to a month ago, where I started to look at the tokenomics of the Internet Computer. And what I looked at specifically was the total ICP burned. Now, this is a metric that shows the total amount of ICP burned. Internet Computer Protocol coins are burned by converting ICP to cycles, which are used to pay for computational and storage costs by dApps and smart contract developers on the Internet Computer. Fees also for rejected proposals, and also ICP transaction fees. And so this is how basically the network is powered, right? And so when we look at total ICP burned over the last 1 year, we see a significant increase. I mean, very steady and very significant. We went from basically August, November, basically almost a year ago from when I'm recording this video, to a total of 173,000 ICP burned on a day. right? So we went from 170,000 per day, and now we are at 1.7 million per day, okay, per day. And so that's a 10x in 1 year. So we have the actual, there's many ways to actually define usage on internet computer. This is one metric to define usage, because you have to burn ICP to create cycles, and then burn cycles to create ICP to have this system operate. And so understanding that the burn rate has 10x'd, understanding that the transactions per second just in the last 3 months has done a 3 or 4x. And over the last year, I mean, if we go from the bottom, yeah, it's basically that from about 3,000 transactions per second to 14,000 or 15,000. This is a 5, 6, 7x. And so we go from burn rate going higher to the transactions per second going higher. And then we look at this third metric. And when I saw this, it did it for me. It made me realize the market has not priced internet computer technology in. And by the way, something else is going. They are launching something and they're testing something right now. There's no way that we would see. I'm gonna get to that third metric in a minute, but there is no way that we would see this kind of increase in transactions per second so suddenly and so aggressively, unless they were testing something that uses significantly more bandwidth and compute power. And so this is why I personally believe that it's probably some type of AI implementation or some kind of cross-chain interoperability, potentially with Hedera, right? We heard a few months ago that Hedera wants to tap Internet Computer for its AI capabilities so that Hedera doesn't actually have to build out the technology. They can just connect right into Internet Computer and have AI on their chain as well. So that benefits both chains. Anyway, so if we look at this canister smart contract, these are dApps or code units. This is a total number of registered canisters running on the Internet Computer blockchain. Remember, a canister is a smart contract. Right now, we're basically at 1 million canisters. But if we go back 1 year and see where we were 1 year ago, where were we? Just under 500,000. So 1 year ago, we were at less than 500,000. Now we're at just under 1 million. So we basically doubled. We've doubled smart contracts. We've 10x'd the cycle burn rate, and we've 4 to 7x'd on the transactions per second throughput. And this is actual data. This is not theoretical. This is actual data. And so again, while all these other ecosystems out here are promising we're going to do this, we're working on this, we're going to launch this, and this is coming next, this is coming after that, this is coming after that. Internet Computer is just, as they say, chugging along, right? They're continuing to develop, continuing to deploy. And as I've predicted, the fact that we have not seen any new AI implementations or demos from the Dfinity team in over a year. The last time they showed us was in February or March of 2024. We're now in the middle of 2025. To me, it would be ridiculous to believe that they have not been working or building or growing their AI capabilities in the last over 1 year. And so that just leads me to believe, from an investment standpoint, they're definitely up to something here, right? Something is about to drop. I think it's going to be some type of launch. I know a lot of people have been talking about Internet Computer's ecosystem, specifically a project called Caffeine AI. And from my understanding, Caffeine AI is really going to, it's going to be a game changer for the network. Again, I'm not really talking too much about things that are in development. I'm really more of the type on this channel to talk about what is being deployed, what is actually happening. My understanding, though, is that Caffeine AI is possibly going to be dropping in June. And so this potentially is the testing phase. And this potentially is why we're seeing such massive increases in all of these metrics on the Internet Computer ecosystem, and a major change on the dashboard to actually look at what, what the blockchain is actually doing. I mean, they even added this power consumption map, which shows us the estimated power consumption of all node machines on the Internet Computer blockchain measured in kilowatts. And why is that? Well, because when you're talking about AI, and by the way, this is just my analysis and assumption. I could be wrong on these things, so make sure you guys do your own research and don't take anything I say as gospel. But yeah, I mean, I if you're talking about AI, when we're talking about like Bitcoin mining companies, they're really not talking about exahashes or their hash rate. They're talking about power that they are going to own, right? What is their they we heard about many crypto mining companies buying these facilities with, hundreds of megawatts of power. And they're doing this to not only enhance their Bitcoin mining capabilities, but also their high power performance compute and AI capabilities. And so I think this combined with this is internet computer preparing for the AI revolution on chain, because this is also another metric that internet computer has recently added, and we're going to go through it. It's called million instructions executed per second. This is the number of instructions executed per second across all the canister smart contracts on the internet computer, measured in millions. And you can see over the last 1 year, I don't even know if they were tracking this over the last year, but you can see that we went from 28,000 about a year ago to basically over $100,000 when we were at the high, but now we're basically at about 70,000, not $70,000, 70,000 million instruction per second. So that's like 70 billion, I would imagine, because these are in millions. I think you have to add 6 zeros. So I think that's 71 billion, but I could be wrong on that. Either one way, it's 70,000 millions. And, compared to last year where we were at about 30, that's basically more than double. And during the, I guess you could call it the end of the year anticipation for the Trump pump or for the election, we saw significantly a significant increase in the million instructions executed per second. And so this is another example that I think that they're preparing for this kind of AI revolution on chain by giving us more metrics to kind of rank where internet computer is from an AI and high powered compute category. But listen, guys, I mean, generally speaking, I have been following crypto for many years on this channel, and we try to figure out like what is the best, time to enter the market, exit the market, figure out which cryptos, which assets we want to be in. And I just cannot see a better time to own internet computer. I mean, I'm not saying buy it. I'm saying to own it, right? Because back in 2023, the coin went down to $2.93. From September of 23 to early 24, it did basically an 8x up to this 20. I think it went to $20 before that, and then we kind of almost hit $20 again, but not really. But there's a lot of exciting things happening. And remember, these technologies take a long time to develop and to deploy. And there's not a lot of companies doing it, companies or crypto projects. And there's not a lot that can be valued, right? OpenAI, they want to go public, but they're not public yet. And there's really no other major player in the AI space that are public. So getting valuations for these companies or these projects, it's very difficult. I mean, Internet Computer is already $2.5 billion in valuation. I think it's undervalued. I think that we potentially are going to go to 50 billion. Even going to 25 billion would be a 10x from where we are today, which would put us at about a $50 price. And so if we go to $50 and we hit $25 billion, I think that a $25 billion valuation for a blockchain that actually has artificial intelligence capabilities and technology on chain, and hopefully all of the hype about this caffeine AI project are for real. And we're going to see the culmination of the last year and a half of development and deployment since the demos of the first on-chain AI that we saw from Internet Computer. And so that leads us to the question, is this an investable asset? Is it investable? Should I buy it? Should I not buy it? Well, I'm not telling you what to do in your portfolio. I do own a portion of my portfolio in ICP. I know a lot of you guys do as well. I do a lot of different crypto videos on this channel, and it seems like internet computer ecosystem is very excited about what is happening and what is coming. And based on the metrics, if we go through another like 5-6 months and Dfinity or Internet Computer don't launch anything, and all of this was just hype about caffeine AI, and caffeine AI doesn't turn out to be what everybody was hyping it up to be. If that happens, I would be shocked. I would be shocked because I just showed you 3 major indicators transactions per second, the cycle burn rate, and the total number of canister smart contracts deployed. All of these have had significant gains in the last year, which shows actual sustained and consistent and growing usage of the chain, which tells me that there's adoption, there's continual development and growth of the chain. And that's what we're looking for, because a lot of other projects are promising AI. A lot of other projects are now flipping and saying, oh, we're going to be the AI crypto. We're going to be the new AI crypto, right? They're just chasing narratives. An internet computer is in this niche of high-powered compute, cloud computing on chain, and also AI. And being right at the cusp of all of that, I think is going to put internet computer into a situation that if we do enter this kind of another phase of the bull run and the markets start to go much higher, parabolic, banana zone, I think that internet computer is going to be a benefit of that. Just based on the metrics that we went over today and the metrics that we talk about in other videos, I mean, this cycle, we're not really even talking too much about the price or the price action, because here's the deal. ICP price is going to move when the ICP price moves, right? You just have to make a decision when it moves. Are you going to take profits? There's a lot of people that are saying no to that. I mean, this could be your fourth kind of example of why internet computer is going to probably perform extremely well. I mean, if you look at the internet computers total staked, number one, it's still 44% staked. And number two, we've seen long-term staking increasing by significant margins, almost 50% increase just from a few years ago when there was 106 million ICP staked for 8 years. Now it's 145 million. That's a 45 million 45 million ICP increase, or 45% increase in the total number of ICP that's locked for 8 years. That means that these people believe in where the future is, and they're not worried about where the price is right now, and they think that the price is going to be much higher in 8 years. Personally, I don't know that I would bet on that, because that's 2 more cycles, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow in crypto, let alone 8 years from now. But there's a lot of people in the ecosystem that are doing it. These are probably a lot of developers, a lot of insiders who are working within the project, and they know like where the trajectory is. They tell us certain things. We can see certain things on their website about what they're trying to achieve and how they're going to achieve it. And then we can see the actual data of what they are achieving. But, does everybody else see this? I don't think so. And all the data that I'm showing you, right? Specifically, look at the volume. Remember we talked about the volume starts to increase and then the price increases. So if you start to see the volume increasing, and this is after the price has not been performing, you can kind of guesstimate the next move is probably going to be higher. Why is volume increasing? Well, volume's increasing for a reason. There's probably people buying or selling, and that could be bullish or bearish. Typically, after a downside turn in the market, which we've had with internet computer, it's bullish, right? I'm not saying it's going to be, but you combine that with the total number of staked and more coins being staked on a daily basis, cycle burn rate continuing to grow, transactions per second continuing to grow, the smart contracts continuing to increase, right? Doubling the number of smart contracts on a very thinly used platform like internet computer compared to Ethereum, compared to Solana. This is where all the focus is. Ethereum, Solana, layer 2s, Avalanche. Meanwhile, internet computer is quietly doubling the number of smart contracts that it has on chain in the last year. Most of those, I would imagine, have something to do with AI or high power performance compute. And this is very bullish for ICP. So the question goes back to what I always ask in my videos when we're talking about internet computer and doing these deep dives. Is ICP right for me? Well, I can't answer that question for you, but for me, ICP is. And I do think that it is going to perform. I could be wrong. I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket, but something is definitely coming. And I think it's going to be big, and I think it's going to be great for the internet computer ecosystem, and really good for just all of crypto, because it's really going to light the fire under these other ecosystem, saying like, you're promising all these things and internet computer is actually delivering. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos on ICP, and I'll see you when I see you. Invest responsibly, and as always, crypto on.